Good night, everyone. I'm just waiting a few minutes to see if anyone else is joining, okay? Before we start to run through the solutions. All right, good night, everyone. All right, so you want to do a quick little run through of the solutions for Jan 2024. Right? Any questions you have as a go along, feel free to message and we'll take a look at your questions, right? In summary, if you look at the paper wasn't too bad a paper. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna just get the one with the answers. Right, it wasn't too bad a paper. So there were some tricky questions that you had to be able to apply the theory and thing. Hold on, I'm gonna see if this is the same paper. Hey, with one, I have a little problem. The answers not showing up.
It not showing up.
Yeah,
And
the answer's not showing up.
you could write.
I guess I got to write. I gotta do over. We would just do over all. How much people on I can start?
You have about 40.
All right. I guess I gotta do over the whole thing. All right. So I will we will just attempt to do over the whole thing, right? All right. So so as I said, yeah, it was a nice little paper. It was a nice little paper. If you look closely, right? For those who did it, number one wasn't too bad, right? Number two was kind of straightforward. You had to remember here that in a quadrilateral, all the angles sum to 360, right? So you had to remember that in order to work this out, right? This one here, you have to remember your rules for construction. And while you're constructing, you use a compass on your arm. You use a compass only, right? And then read it off. This was an okay question. This was transformations. That wasn't so bad. Functions wasn't that bad, right? This was a nice start question, right? We're gonna do all just now, right? The measurement question wasn't that bad, right? It was kind of straightforward for you to work it out, right? I'm not sure if anybody else have this, but I have 290s. I don't know if that happened on the actual paper. Right, number 7 was okay. Can I give you all the hints here? Right, this was a little tricky, the way they set it up, but you will see how easy it actually was, right? Right, number 8 wasn't that bad. Right, number 8 wasn't that bad. Right, here we have axis of symmetry. This wasn't so bad. This was quadratic. This was a bit tricky. This angles and circles was a little bit challenging. We'll go through the whole thing and you will see how to actually work through it, right? right? This bearing question, you had to pay attention to what was going on. Angular elevation, right? Vectors wasn't so bad, matrices was nice. So in all, you had about 8.5 good questions, 1.5 challenging questions, right? So hopefully it's set up kind of nice after paper 2. All right, so you want to take a look, you want to start to go through these solutions, right? So I will work them over. I kind of have the answers already, so I will share this paper on some of the groups that I have, right? So you can always take a look at it. Right there, a few seconds behind there. Yes, sir? Yeah. What about, you want me to switch it? Like, could I switch it and go straight to YouTube from here? No? Okay. Right, so any questions, just forward it to me, right? Right, so the first thing you want to look at, you want to take a look at this. This one here, you couldn't use a calculator. You had to go right ahead and work it out, right? So this is 1 minus, find the LCM. That's 30. You have 1 plus 8 on top, right? So you'll get 1 minus 9 on 30, which is 21 on 30. Remember the question said simplest form, right? So you have to break it down again, divide everything by 3, you'll get 7 on 10. All right? Right, you'll get 7 on 10. I will make the solutions available as well for you, all right? Right, so I'm just going through it here using Zoom, so I can't leave the answers up. Next one here, they give you a 2-story car park of a total of 1,020 spaces, right? At 6:30 hours, one morning, 1/30th of the total was filled. The next hour, right? You had 4:15 added, no cars left the car park, right? So they wanted to determine the spaces that are not. You see all these words are highlighted, right? It's important that you pay attention to exactly what they asked. They said, right, the number of car spaces that are not filled. So you want empty. So you have a total of 1,020, and you will recognize that in that 1,020, 1 on 30 plus 4 on 15 of the 1,020 are taken up. So you work out this and you will end up with that 306. So you end up with 1020 minus 306, right? So that's equal to 714, right? You'll also notice, right? This might look a little familiar. This looks like the part on top. So what you could have also done was find 7/10 of the whole thing by 1020 and you get the same answer, right? You'll recognize that is quite similar to what you have on top, right? So the answer for that part would have been 714. Remember, don't waste time writing and thing. I'm making this available to you, right? Now, of the 1,020 parking spaces, 20% are on the top level. How many parking spaces are on the top level? Well, real simple. Find 20% of the 1020, and you'll get 204. Okay? We have any questions yet, sir? Okay. Some of these spaces are reserved for monthly paying customers. The ratio of reserved spaces to non-reserved, right? This is reserved and this is non-reserved. So the ratio in terms of a fraction will be 5/12. We add up the 5 and the 7 to get the total to 7/12, right? That's the actual fraction of the total, right? So they want the number of non-reserved. So non-reserved will be 7/12 by the whole thing, right? And that will give you 595, right? Nice easy mark so far, right? Then they ask for right? Then they ask for they give us some information here. Length of visit and cost. Under 30 minutes is free. More than 30 minutes, up to 2 hours. So this here is like saying 30 minutes to 2 hours, right? Okay, there's 30 minutes to 2 hours here. So let's see what happens, right? So Michaela leaves, she leaves the car park at 18:30 hours and pays, that was her bill when she left. They want the earliest time that she could have arrived. So the earliest time that she could have arrived, right, basically represents the longest period that she could have stayed, right? Because the earlier you come means that she would have stayed a long period of time. So if you look at what 9:25 represents, 9:25 represents more than 4 hours up to 8 hours. So the least amount of time to pay for 9:25 is 4 hours, and the most amount of time to pay 9:25 for is 8 hours. So therefore, her earliest possible time would be the 18:30 minus 8 hours. So that will make it 10:30. So that's the earliest possible time that she could have arrived at the car park, right? Because they want to know how early. If you were to use anything in between 4 and 8, she would have arrived at a later time. So for example, if it's 4 hours, it would have been 18:30 minus 4. So she would have been there around 14:30. That's not the earliest time. The earliest time would have been the 10:30. So you have to subtract the 8 from the 18:30. Okay? You're hearing clearly anything? Let me know if you're hearing clearly, right? Right. Now, Danraj bought a weekly ticket for 40. And that week he visited the car park 5 different times. So what we have to do is to work out the cost for each of these visits and then add them up. And then we would recognize that it should be more than this. Okay? So if you look back at the table, for 25 minutes, that would have been free. 7.5 hours, that would have been $9.25. 11 hours, that would have been $15. 18.75, that would have been $15. 8 hours, that would have been $9.25. If you add up all of this, you are going to get $48.50. Right? That's the cost if she didn't take the weekly, right? So her savings minus in the weekly cost is $8.50. Right? Exactly what they are. So we prove it, so we're good to go. Okay? So that brings us to the end of number 1. A little bit of working, right? A little bit of working. Right? So that's the solution for number 1. And it was, once you spend time reading your question, this should be a nice question, right? So it should be a gettable 9 marks, right? Right, next thing we're gonna look at now. Let's take a look at the simplification. So to simplify the one on top, we need to remember that we're going to have to factorize the top and factorize the bottom. The bottom is difference of 2 squares. Okay, so that'll be x minus 7, x plus 7, the plus will cancel. So you'll be left with x over x minus 7. Okay, next one. If you're seeing that there, let me just zoom up a little bit, right? You'll recognize here that your x squared plus x to the 6, same base, so we're going to add the powers. Right? When you add the powers, that'll be equal to your r. So r is 8. Okay? Next one. Right? S cube is 8. So we need to figure out what cube will give us 8. And of course, 2 should come to mind. Right? So it means that S is 2. And next way to do it is this. S cube is equal to 8. If we carry the cube across, we will get the cube root of 8. And the cube root of 8 is 2. Right? So S is 2. All right, next one. right? Next one here, the diagram below shows a triangle and an equilateral. So what do we need to remember? We need to remember that the sum of all the angles here is 180 degrees. The sum of all the angles here is 360 degrees. Okay? So for the triangle, show that that must happen. Well, if we add up 3b, a plus 2b, and a plus 9, we're going to get 180. Bring all the a's together, you get a plus a, that's 2a. 3b plus 2b is 5b, right? And then you carry across the 9, it becomes 180 minus 9. And we know that 180 minus 9 is 171. Any questions? Okay. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Next one here, same principle, right? Same principle. You have to add up everything in here, and that should be equal to 360. So that'll be, right, you add up everything and it'll be equal to 360. So what will that be? That will be 6a plus 3a plus 2b plus 18 plus 3b plus 3b minus 2a is 360. Right? Bring all the a's together, you'll get 6a plus 3a is 9a minus 2a is 7a. Bring all the b's together, 2b plus 3b plus 3b, that's 8b. And here you have 360, carry across the 18, it becomes minus 18. So that will give you 342. Good to go. Prove the next thing. Next thing now they want us to do is to solve simultaneously. Right? So how do we solve simultaneously now? Well, we're going to use elimination method. If you want to use substitution, no problem. But the method I used here for this one was substitution method. Sorry, elimination method. Right? We have 7a plus 8b. Here is 342. One of the easy ways to do elimination method is, you see the value in front of a here for this equation is 7, right? Multiply the first equation by that value, which is 7. Then you see the value in front here. So the values in front of a, you multiply the next equation by that. So I'm going to multiply this equation here by 2. So I'm multiplying the top equation by 7, because that's the value in front of a in the second equation. And I'm going to multiply the second equation by 2. Remember, when you're multiplying, multiply every single term, right? So 7 by each term in here will give us 14a plus 35b is 1197. Then 2 by everything down there will be 14a plus 16b is equal to 684. All right. Now you'll recognize that we have the a's here being the same, right? So easy, just minus. So that technique will always work. Take this value here, multiply the top equation. Take this value here, multiply the bottom equation, and then minus. And you're good to go. Right? That will always work. And it makes this a little bit simple, right? So 14a minus 14a is 0, right? 35 minus 16 is 19. 1197 minus 684 is 513. So it means that B is 513 over 19, which is 27. So we know B. So we could take any equation and solve for E, right? So 2A plus 5, we know B, right? So we're going to put B as 27, right? Is equal to 171. So 2A is equal to 171 minus 135. So 2A is 36, I think. Yeah. So A is equal to 18. Good to go. A is 18, B is 27. Right, so if you have any issues on this, I've lots of videos on solving simultaneous. You could go and try them out, right? Right, solving simultaneous is a very simple way to do the elimination. Okay, there are other techniques. If you go with the other techniques, go right ahead. But this is one of the techniques that you could use. Okay. Any questions as yet? Right, this was one of the few questions here now that I was not able to, I mightn't be able to show you fully what to do because I do have the Compass app on this one, right? But let me show you what you're supposed to do. So you do a little sketch. AB here, hold on. AB here, whatever the length is, you will have to measure the length on your paper, right? I don't know where it is because my paper here is zoomed up, right? And then here what you're doing, you do a little sketch, you know, A to C have to be 8 centimeters, and then that's C, and then B to C should be 5. Right, here's what you're doing to get it now, because you have no angles. You're taking your compass, you have your pointer, and then you have the pencil part, right? And you're measuring 8 centimeters. You're placing your pointer at A, and you're going to draw your arc. That arc represents the arc for 8 centimeters. Then do the same thing again and measure off 5 centimeters. Place the pointer here and draw your arc. Where the two arcs meet, that's your point C. Connect it up here and then connect it up here. This should be 8 centimeters once done properly, and this is 5 centimeters. And you're good to go, right? The next part is to measure and state the angle. BAC is right here. So you will have to actually do it on your paper and measure your angle, right? So I don't know what AB was, so I can't even work it out for you. Right, but based on your paper, you just use your ruler, measure AB, use your protractor, measure theta, and you're good to go. All right, so that was a nice construction question. All right, so that's a nice little 3 marks there. Here, they want us to find the value of H. So for us to find the value of H, we have to remember what equilateral means. Equilateral means all the sides are the same angles. Sorry, all the sides are the same. Yeah, all the sides are the same. Hold on. All the sides are the same length, and then all the angles here are 60 as well. Right? Here is 13. Here will be 13 as well. Right? They want us to find H. Right? So there are different things that you could do to find H. You could use this triangle here alone. Right? You could use, that's 13 on 2, sorry. Right? You could use that triangle alone and say, well, you want to find H. So you can say 13 squared is H squared plus 13 on 2. Right? That's one method, right? When you rearrange it, you'll get H squared is 13 squared minus 13 on 2 all squared. When you work it out, you'll get H squared is 507 on 4. So H is the square root of 507 on 4. Right? I got 11.3. That's one method. The next method is to use a triangle and find for H. H is the opposite side, and we have 13 here, which is the hypotenuse. So it means that we could use sine 60 is equal to H over 13. Or we could even use cos 60 is equal to, sorry, I meant tan, sorry about that. I meant tan, right? Yeah, we could have used tan 60 is equal to opposite over adjacent, right? Remember, this line generally splits this into 2, right? Just remember that. So any method you use will give you 11.3. Okay. Nice. We have a real simple transformations here. So for those who didn't like transformations, you got an easy one here. Right? First one, if you look at to go from P to R, is a nice little slide. So focus on a point. So let's focus on this point here. That point slide to the right and then slide upwards. So it's a translation you're just focusing on one of the points, right? It's a translation. It's slide to the right 2 and upwards 4. That's it. Okay. It's not a, of course you could see it's not a rotation or a reflection, right? It's a nice little translation. And the next one, R to Q, you'll recognize that there must be some kind of reflection there, right? If you remember how the transformations work, right? It's not a rotation, right? Look at the orientation of it, right? This is a simple little flip of this. So what we have to do now is to figure out where the mirror line is. One of the ways is to connect 2 points, draw a line, and bisect it. That bisected line, sorry, the line that bisects, let's call this AB. That line is your mirror line, right? So for this one here, it's a reflection in the line, right? Remember, it's a horizontal line. So the equation is x is equal to the point it passing through. So that point is 1. Reflection in the line, x equal to 1. Okay. Let's continue. Any questions? All right, so let's check out this next one here now. F of 4, real simple. So we're using this function here, right? So f of 4 means that all we're doing, we're taking up x and we're going to put 4. So that's 2 minus 20. So that answer is minus 18. Next one, h of 0 means that we're going to use h of x here. And since there's no more x, we're taking off x and we're going to put 0. So we're going to get 5 to the 0, which is 1. Next, f of h of minus 2, right? So one of the techniques I like to do to solve it is to put a bracket around the second function. So what that means is we need to know what is h of minus 2. So what is h of minus 2? Go to h of x and replace x with minus 2. So that is f of 1 on 25. Okay, f of 1 on 25. Nice, and then it come back here to f. So that will be f of 1 on 25 is equal to 2 minus 5 by 1 on 25, which is 2 minus 1/5, right? 2 minus 1/5, which is 1 on 4/5. Okay, so far, nice little function question. All right, next, they want us to get the inverse, right? So we start off with tell them what y is and so on, right? So we let y equal to 2 minus 5x. Then we interchange x and y. So we'll get x is equal to 2 minus 5y. I'm moving the 5y here, and I'm moving the x on the next side. Right? So 5y is equal to 2 minus x. Then divide everything by 5. So we'll get y is equal to 2 minus x on 5. Good, and you're good to go. That is your inverse, 2 minus x on 5. What you could have also done, some people may have gotten x minus 2 all over minus 5. Same answer, right? We just change the signs on everything, right? Okay, next one. This was a little tricky, but let's just say you have a little add more skills in you. This would have been real simple, right? Because they would have done similar things already, right? So what does f of x mean? F of x means that you put in f of x right back into f of x. So that's f of 2 minus 2x. And f of 2 minus 2x is equal to a plus bx, right? They told us that there. Okay, so we have to simplify this part out now. So that will mean that we're taking this and we're going to put it back into f. So that'll be 2 minus 2, open brackets, 2 minus 2x is equal to a plus bx, right? So the objective now is to simplify the left side, and make it equal to the right hand, and then compare it with the right hand side, right? So minus 2 by 2, that's minus 4, minus 2 by minus 2 is plus 4x, is equal to a plus bx. So minus 2 plus 4x is a plus bx, right? So what does that mean? It means that we could compare now. We could compare the left side and the right side because they're supposed to be equal. So you can easily see here that minus 2 is a and b is 4, right? So that question may have been tricky for some. All right, let me do stick a tool. Let me keep going. All right, this number 5 was a nice little question, right? Wasn't challenging, wasn't too difficult once you practice a couple of function questions already, right? First thing they want the modal class. So you're looking for the highest frequency and write down the class. So that'll be 4.4 is less than m is less than or equal to 5.3. That's your modal class, right? Okay, so you're good to go there. Next part, they would like you to find the mean. So you have to remember that mean is the sum of f of x. So I need the sum of this whole column divided by the sum of f. Okay? So I find the sum of this whole column here after, and then divide them up, right? Right, but this one easy. You know that one is 120. Right, how do we get the midpoint? How do we get this? We just add up these two values and then add it and then divide it by 2. Right, when you do that for the first one there, you'll get 5.75. Then add 7.1 and 8 divided by 2, and you will get 7.55. Right, when you multiply these two, you'll get 166.75. And when you multiply these two, you'll get 60.4. Right? When you add all of this up, you'll get 651.3. When you divide it by 120, you get your mean to be 5.43 kilograms. Remember, your mean is an average, right? So your mean should be lie somewhere within that boundary. So let's just say you made a mistake and you got a value less than this or more than 80 or more than 8, then you did something wrong, right? My value is between 2.6 and 8, so I know I'm good to go. So in case you recognize you got something beyond that, then is a way for you to go back and check now and see if you multiply or divide wrong. Okay? So that's the way you find the mean. And then, so here they want the probability that a newborn has a mass greater than 5.3. So to find the probability now of greater than 5.3 kilograms, we have to look up all of them in the 120 that has a mass bigger than 120. Sorry, bigger than 5.3. All right, Claudia. So P is more than 5.3 kilograms, is more than that. All right, so I wanted to go back to the table. Sorry there. No sun come on, disturb me there. I'm going back to the table, right? So all I'm looking for is all the masses that are more than 5.3. So that'll be here, here, and here. So that'll be this total here. So the probability will be 29 plus 28 plus 8. Right? When you add it up and divide by 120, that will give you, right? That will give you your probability. Right? So that'll be 65 on 120. Okay? So that's the way you work out the probability. Right? Remember they wanted all the masses more than 5.3. Yeah? So these are not, these don't belong to it. More than 5.3 will be here, here, and here. So you add up all the frequencies and then you divide it by the total. Okay? Right, let's take a look at the cumulative frequency. Right, any questions as yet? No questions as yet? Or just relaxing and watching this. Right, as it go along, what you could probably let me know is like topics that you find, like, you know, like for those who are writing in June, topics that you still want to get some practice with, right? And I'll do some more lives and do those topics only. Okay, so as we move along, just say, okay, well, sir, I don't really catch this, and, you know, just make a little note, right? And we'll take it down and we'll give you an idea of which subject we're doing when. Right, cumulative frequency, all we're doing, we're going back to the original table and we just add in, right? We're just adding them up consecutively and you'll get the value. All right, because I want to write up here, I will come straight here, right? All right, so to get this, we add 18, to get 25, right? To 25, we add 29, and so on, or whatever the value was, right? I think the value was 30, sorry. And then to get the next value, we're going to add 29. So we'll get 84, then add again, we'll get 112, then you'll get 120. So that's the cumulative frequency. This question was really nice there, and it gave you, and it reminds you here of what you're going to plot. When you're plotting this upper boundary here with the cumulative frequency. So these are the values that we go into plot. Okay, those are the values that we're going to plot. And what made this question even easier? What they did? They even reminded you on the question how to plot, right? 2.5 or less, that was 0. 3.5, right? That was 7 people. Although that doesn't look like 7. 4.4, 4.4, that was 25. So this looks like a little mistake, yeah? That's 5, it should have been 7. Right, and then 5.5, next one was 5.3. So 5.3, right, so let me just look for the quick little plot. 5.3, right, 4.5, here's 5. So that would have been 5.3. Hold on, let me just get back the value. Did I just lose it? Oh. 5.3, 55. So 5 here, 55 will be in the middle. 5.123, so it will be like somewhere there, right? And then you have 6.2. So this is 6 here. So you're looking 2 strokes after. 6.2 is 84. Remember, I'm using the table that we just finished off, right? You just completed. 6.2, 84. 82. Every stroke here is 2, right? So it's 82, 84. 6.2 is somewhere here. Right? Then you have 7.1, 7.1, 112. 112, that's quite up here. That's 7.1, right? And then 8 here. And then once you get a shape here, it's not the baddest. Oh gosh, mine's not too smooth out there. But once you get this kind of a shape, then you know you did the right cumulative frequency, right? So your graph will look like that. And then they want your median. So your median is always half of your highest value, right? So your total cumulative is 120. Half of that is 60, right? That is your median. So that's where your median is located, sorry. So you come here and you find it, come down here. Based on this graph, it's about 5.4, right? When I did it on a graph paper, I got 5.5, right? So your answer is between 5.4 and probably 5.6, somewhere around there. But this is what I got when I did it on graph paper, 5.5. Okay, so the solution there for the median will be 5.5 kilograms. All right, nice. You want a little break? Take a little 2 minutes. All right, let's continue if you all don't want a break, right? Well, it should be good, man. Hold on, 50 minutes gone. Right, so what's left will be the measurement question, the measurement question, the critical thinking, or the investigative, and then you have the section 2. But for those who didn't write the paper, how you all found the paper going so far? Right, so I'll give you a little break, right? Let us continue. Right, let's continue with the paper. All right. Which one you'll find is the easiest so far between 1 to 5? If you had to pick one so far that you guaranteed full marks in, which one that would be? For me, I might just say the stats. I find the stats was really easy. Although I like stats, but I find the stats was really easy. Which one you all think was the easiest so far? All right, nice. So good. Let's continue this now. Let's continue with this and see what will happen, right? So let's see if we could finish out this. All right. So the next part of the question, what they ask us. they asked us for, the diagram below shows a hemispherical bowl and a cylindrical tin. They give you the diameter, right? They give you the diameter of the cylindrical tin is 12 centimeters. And the height is 17 centimeters, and the radius of the bowl, right, is R, right? Let's show that the volume of the cylinder is so much. So all we had to do, real simple, just find the volume, right? So we know volume, right? And of course, you should learn these little formulas, right? Is area at the base by the height. So that's pi r squared by height. So that's pi by 6 squared. Remember, the radius is half of this, right? Right? So it's pi 6 squared multiplied by the height, which is 17. Go to a calculator and you'll get 1922.7 approximately equal to 1923, right? Centimeter cube. Okay, so that's the volume, approximate volume of the actual cylinder. All right, next part. Right, next part, what they want us to do, here's what they did now. You see the bowl, you see this bowl here? They fill this bowl up with soup. And then they poured everything, the entire volume, and it picked up 90%, right? Let's pretend that's 90%, right? So it picked up 90% inside the, right, inside the empty cylindrical tin. So here's what that simply means. It means that 90% of the volume of a cylinder, so 90% of this value, is equal to the volume here, right? So once we know that, right? Once we know that, we could easily, right? Once we know that, we could easily solve the next part, right? Right? We could easily solve the next part. So we could start here. 90% of 1923 is 1730.7. Right? That's 90%. But remember, that's the volume of the sphere. So it means that 4/3 pi r cubed is 1730.7. Right? All we have to do now is solve for r. So we can take this value here, carry it across and divide. R cubed will be 730.7 all over 413 pi. When you work it out, you'll get 413.2. Now we know that r cubed is equal to 413.2, and then carry across the cube, you'll get cube root. You'll get 413.2. So the cube root of 413.2 will give you 7.45 centimeters. Okay, so this was a key bit of information. You had to identify that this was the volume of the bowl. Okay, right? You know what? I just realized something. This is the volume of the whole sphere. So I should have divided this by 2. Okay? So I now realize that. So I should have divided this by 2. I'm gonna fix it one time. Right? It was a hemisphere. So I had to divide that by 2. So I would have gotten 2/3 pi r cubed is 1730.7. Right? And here's a perfect example of why you need to check over your work, right? So by me checking over, I was able to see that I use the formula for volume of a sphere instead of hemisphere. So it's 1730.7 all over 2/3 pi. And then you cube root that. 173.7 all over 2/3 pi. Right? And you'll get your answer. Right? I'm gonna just do it quick, right? Right, what do I get there? Right, next time I'll have the calculator app, right? So you will see what I'm plugging in, right? But this time when I work it out, I got 9.38, right? So I'll check over that working and make sure that we have that right. Okay, nice. All right, let's finish up this last one here, right? Right, so this last one here, we need to remember that what they give us, the circumference of a semicircle with a center, they gave you the radius. So here's 18, here's 18, here's 18, right? Right, you want to get the area of the shaded region. So what we need to get to do, we need to get the area of the semicircle. And then minus the area of the triangle. So area of the semicircle will be pi r squared over 2. Area of the semicircle will be half base by height. Right? So that will be what? Pi is what? Pi by r, right? Remember the radius is 18 on 2 minus a half the base. I'm using this whole base here, right? So that's 36 by the height is 18. Right? And the answer for this that I got was 184.9 centimeters squared. Okay, so nice. What y'all think? Continue or you want to finish it in the next day? Right, just message in the comments so I'll have an idea if to continue or if to stop it here, right? And then we could do all the rest in the next day, right? So let me know, right? All we have to do again, which not too long. We still have number 7 to do, 8, 9, and 10. All right. Right. So message in the comments and let me know what to do. All right, piano, just for you. Just for you, I'm doing one more, right? So let's take a look at number 7. This is the investigative question where you're just following a pattern, all right? So that's a good idea, piano, right? We will stop at section 1 and then we can do section 2 next week, all right? So let's go here first. So how do we get that new shape now? So you recognize what's your pattern. You have like 2 rows of dark, and every time you add on, you're adding on 2 circles to the end. So you have first row, second row, third row, you add on 2 circles to the end. Here you have 4 rows, you're adding on 2 circles to the end. I want you to also recognize that there are 2 rows of hollow dots, 3 rows of hollow dots, and 4 rows of hollow dots here. So what do we do to complete this diagram? Well, what do I need to do is, first thing I need to do is color out these. And add the one on either side. And then I have to have 5 blank ones underneath, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just finish up inside here. Hopefully your diagram would look nice, all right? Okay, so it looks something like that. All right, so it looks something like that. Right, what I will do is I will try to fix this lag, right? We have a few seconds lag in between. So I'm not going to see all the messages live, but I'll fix it up in the next one. I haven't been live for a while. All right, so there's that. Okay, next one. We want to now do the one on the table. So if you look at the table here, real simple, because the way they set it up make it real simple for you, right? When S is 4, you'll recognize here when S is 1, this value is 1. When S is 2, this value is 2. When this is 3, this is 3. So obviously, here will be 4 plus 1 squared. 5 squared is 25, right? And how do you get number counters? Well, it's important. Sometimes I tell my students to do down here first. Do down there first and then figure out everything else. So here would have been n plus 1. They gave us this formula already. And here, this is n plus 1. And here is 2n. So you're multiplying n by 2. So that's 2n plus 1. So I know down there, right? So here now I can figure it out by just putting n is 4. So that's 3 by 4 squared plus 5 by 4 plus 2. Right? When I work it out, I think I got 65. Okay, 65. Then down here now, next part, I don't know what n is, right? But I could work this out. I know that this is 11 plus 1 squared because 144 is 12 squared. So that'll be 11 plus 1. So n is 11. So I could plug it in here. 11 plus 1 is 12. 11 by 2 is 22 plus 1 is 23. Right? I think I got 276, right? Right? You would just check back and multiply and make sure I multiply right there, right? Right? But that's basically it. That's how you fill in those spots there. Right? So as I said, sometimes it's really good to just do this last row here first and then go upwards and figure out the rest. Okay? And last one. Right? Last one. Right. So this one here, you have to be careful. They told you what T is. T is equal to AS squared plus BS plus 2. Right? And we know S is a shape. So here's what they want. They want by putting in suitable numbers for S, right? Find the total number of counters a table for shape 1, show is this, and for shape 2 is this. So let's see. So for shape 1, right? So for shape 1, all we have to do is we know S will be 1, right? Because S here is the shape, right? And we know that for shape 1, if I go back to the table, hold on, I'm going back to the table here for you. T is 10. Okay? So what that means is that here, for shape 1, S is 1 and T is 10. Okay? So I'm using the formula. 10 is equal to A by 1 squared plus B by 1 plus 2. So 10 is equal to A plus B plus 2. So it means that A plus B is equal to, carry across 2, 10 minus 2 is 8. And we got the first one. Next one. Next one is for shape 3. Right, for shape 3. For shape 3, S is 3. And if you go back to the table, you will see that T is 44. So use a little math skills now, and you will get 44 is equal to A by 3 squared plus B by 3 plus 2. Work it out, and you will get 44 is equal to 9a plus 3b is equal to 2. Right? Carry across it 2, and you will get 9a plus 3b is 42. That's not the answer, so we had to make it look like that. So let's divide by 3. Divide by 3, and you'll get 3a plus b is 14. And you got it? Okay? So that was section 1. Right? As I said, within the section 1, it had a couple of questions that were tricky, but generally, so far it's looking okay. All right? So far it looks okay. So what I will do is, I want you to be a little more interactive. So what you can do is give me an idea, right? How you all find the class was so far. Like if you find it going too fast or talking too fast, because I have a little stuttering problem. So sometimes I talk really, really fast for you to, for me not to stutter as much, right? So give me a little idea how you find the feedback was and so on, right? How you find it was. The lag is a big problem. I'll solve that next day, right? And give me a little idea when is a good time for you all as well, so I'll know when to log on, right? And I will do the next section probably around next week around the same day or time, or I could do it like a Tuesday or Thursday during the week. All right, so you could give me a little feedback. So it's possible for you to share the link for me, like so that they could join the WhatsApp group, so I could share these solutions if they want it. All right, so I'll probably share the link as well at the bottom of the YouTube video as well, right? Okay, so as I said, give me a little feedback. It'll be good to know where you're all from as well, right? Give me a little idea. You can put a little flag so I know where you're all from, right? And as I said, you can message on the group, you can message right here and give me an idea of the topics that you probably want me to do over, right? And I'll do it over during the week as well, right? I will be doing a paper 3 and a multiple choice probably next week, either Thursday or Sunday probably, right? I'll confirm via, I'll put something up I'll put something up, right? So what you can do is you could, of course, subscribe and follow us on Instagram, right? On Instagram is ariti.science. Okay, you can follow us there. On TikTok, you could kind of follow me, but I don't really have, my TikTok wasn't really active. But my name is Mr. Nicholas Paul, right? You can check it out on TikTok. We also have a school account, but that's not so active. But Nicholas Paul, I'll be posting up a lot of videos on like solving quadratics and factorizing and all those little things. Okay, so y'all could follow us on Instagram or on TikTok. Okay, so thanks for joining, right? I hope we find out better ways so we can communicate and you'll give me some feedback as well, right? So let's see how things go, right? So enjoy your night, enjoy your week of school, right? And feel free to message on any of the groups that you join, and we will see how we can help you out, right? Exams is how much? About 4 months away, 4 months and some days. So we have enough time to go over everything and make sure you master it for June, right? For those who have Jan, once you get about 5 or 6 questions, right? For Jan, once you get about 5 or 6 questions, let me say 7, you still have a chance of getting into that range of 1, right? But it means that you will have to do a few multiple choice, generally 5 to 10 multiple choice, and a couple of paper 3s. Those who go in with SBA as well, good, right? You should have a better chance of getting a 1, right? Okay, so next week we'll continue. All right, good night, everyone.